Hello. In this special 500 subscribers video, I'll be answering some of the questions asked about Newman miniatures over the last 5 years. I hope it's of interest, and if you have any more, do leave them in the comments below. So, let's begin. 1. Why don't you do insert prototype here? Easily the most common question, I am always open to suggestions. Whether I take them up, however, depends on various things. Firstly, I foremost design models for my personal interests, and there are a lot of ideas on the list. Newman Miniatures is above all an outlet for sharing these designs with like-minded enthusiasts. When added to the list, I might get around to a particular model, but there is no guarantee unless it is expressly commissioned. Next, some prototypes are simply not feasible. In instances, there is not a suitable chassis, for example. Nonetheless, I am always receptive, and there is a wealth of prototypes out there with potentially wide interest worthy of discussion. 2. Why are tenders and parts separate and not all together? A few reasons here. Firstly, some plastics can only have a limited number of separate parts per print, and there are cases where the added size and support material can actually make it more expensive. Next, having separate tenders, for example, means a scratch builder can select just the parts they need for their own projects, and equally, anyone wanting to buy a model in installments has that flexibility. Lastly, some of these models, such as Locomotion No. 1, use two different types of plastic for detail versus strength, so these have to be produced separately. 3. Why the funny prices? Many have noticed that the prices seem to include a few random pence here and there, and the answer is simple. The website is hosted outside Britain and the currency set to dollars, so round numbers get affected by currency conversion. I've already said how Newman Miniatures is aimed first as an outlet for enabling others to model these wonderful, early and unusual prototypes, and this is also reflected in the prices. The profit markup is deliberately kept low to make them as affordable as possible. 4. What other parts are needed to build these models? The models are designed with commercial parts in mind to ensure easy construction. Full lists of all parts and optional scratch build details are included on each sales page. There are various sources for these depending on scale, etc., and the main suppliers of spares for ready-to-run models are the best place to start. These are easy to find online, as are most chassis. To give the widest options, I try to include wheel diameters, especially in OO, alongside particular item details, so you can find what works best for you. I should also note that most designs have been built by myself prior to release, ensuring a largely simple construction, that everything goes together with minimal fettling, and that the finished model will successfully work. That way it's easier for everyone. 5. Do you take commissions? As briefly mentioned, I am open to discussing commission work, subject to caveats such as the availability of a suitable chassis. While the cost of production is separate from any design fee, I make a point of not including any additional markup on the first print of any commissioned item, so keeping the total down as much as possible. Regular updates are also sent, keeping clients informed and active throughout the design process. As a separate but interconnected point, some commissions have been rescaling models to OO or other scales. These take more work than might be assumed, as they are far from just a literal rescale. Each part is checked individually for realistic but printable wall thicknesses, correct proportions checked, modifications made to ensure the suitability of particular wheels or chassis in some cases, and the addition of further details where appropriate. So if there is something of interest, from rescale to component to complete locomotive, do get in touch. 6. Will you be producing any ready-to-run models? The short answer, unfortunately, is no. I have on one single occasion custom built an engine, and while successful, the time involved was impractical for larger production without the end price escalating. Never say never, but with the models designed to be as simple to build as possible, in many cases little more than slot in wheels and painting, they are likely to remain for now as kits for you to enjoy assembling yourself. 7. Are there any future plans? Okay, I added this one myself. Yes, there are. I am continually looking to ways of improving these models and expanding what is possible to make. Past examples include bespoke wheels, motion parts, and even new gauges of track, as with the Lartigue monorail and broad gauge. For the future, new chassis are to be considered for different wheel arrangements, while finer and more complex valve gear, including for more beam engines, is another avenue for development. Then, of course, there are new prototypes. To give just a selection currently on the list, there's Agenoria and sister Stourbridge Lion, the first engine in America, McConnell's Bloomer class, the Kitson Still steam diesel hybrid engine, some more broad gauge, notably Hurricane and Fowler's Ghost, an L&WR Watford tank, the Liverpool and Manchester Railway engine Twin Sisters, an Aveling and Porter shunter, CC1 Bulliard's Irish turf burner, and also early pioneering electric and diesel engines are under consideration. Hopefully something for everyone. So with that, all that remains is for me to thank you again for your support, and I hope you enjoy our current and future models. Thank you.